Hi, this is Otto Penzler. I'm at the Mysterious Bookshop in New York City, down in Lower Manhattan in Tribeca, and with our weekly show about books and authors and collecting. Today, I would like to talk about one of the grand old men of the British mystery scene, Harry Keating, HRF Keating, Henry Raymond Fitzwalter Keating, known as Harry. He, first of all, I should say, just at a personal level, he was one of my closest friends for more than 40 years. When I made annual trips to London for the London Book Fair and other reasons, I stayed at his house for about 30 years in a row. Harry died a few years ago, but Sheila, the woman he married in 1953, they stayed married until the very end. Is still there, still has more energy than almost anybody I know at the age of 94. I feel a great sense of loss about Harry no longer being with us, but the books are with us. Harry won the Cartier Platinum Dagger for Lifetime Achievement. It's the equivalent of the Grand Master for Mystery Writers of America. And he's won several Gold Daggers and several Edgars. He created a memorable character, Inspector Ganesh Gote of the Bombay Police, the CD, the criminal division of the Bombay Police. The books are real detective stories, including a couple of locked room murders, impossible crimes, but they're also very funny. Gote is a hilarious character who appeared in something like 30 books, a little bit more than 30 books. And I'll start with those. I'll show you those first. He had several different publishers over the years. He had a career that spanned 70 years or 65 years. So you might expect that he would not have stayed only with one publisher. The British editions came out first because he was English, although I think they were followed in most cases either simultaneously or very quickly after that with the American. Here's an autographed first edition, that nice, neat handwriting that he had from Macmillan. And Macmillan, like so many modern publishers, as I talk about pretty much every week, shows you the number sequence beginning with 1. And that's how you tell a first edition from Macmillan. This is an absolutely new copy, and it's $35. Here's another Macmillan. Wait a minute, is that Macmillan? Yeah, it was, okay. Here's another Macmillan book. Again, like new. Again, the copyright page shows the number sequence beginning with number 1. Not signed, this one's not signed, so it's $27.50, but like brand new copies. These are Gote novels. In America, he was published for many years by the Doubleday Crime Club. And Doubleday was absolutely one of the great publishers in the sense of you always knew that it was a first edition because the copyright page said first edition. There was just no mistaking it. Although if the British edition came out first, they would frequently say first American edition. So here we have Doubleday shows 1979 on the title page, and then the copyright page shows first edition, meaning almost certainly that it came out simultaneously with the British edition. This is a Gote novel, fine condition, jacket's just a little bit worn, $15. The American editions are relatively inexpensive. They were done in fairly large quantities because he was such a successful, popular writer. But I'll show you something else. Here's the same book, also a first edition from Doubleday, with an inscription, but it's a fake. That is not Harry Keating's autograph. Somebody thought as a gift that they were doing something cool. Who knows what the reason was, but that's a fake autograph. And I view it as a negative, so it's only a $10 book. Many more Doubleday Crime Club books. Date on the title page. And does that say first edition?
Yeah.
There it is. Very reliable. There were occasional reprints, and then that first edition line would not show up there. So I just wanted to, and yeah, as I said before, first edition in the United States. So this is obviously the UK edition came out first, and then the American edition. It's not a great copy, so it's $10. Really, reading copies. Inspector Gautier Caught in Meshes. Again, Doubleday Crime Club. And I can guarantee you that it will say first edition on the copyright page. Oh, this isn't Doubleday. Dutton. How did Dutton get in there? Well, it did. Well, he did a book with Dutton. Dutton also shows first edition on the copyright page. It's a decent copy, $15. Here's another Doubleday. I guess I thought I had all the Doubledays together. Clearly, I did not. But reliably, there's the first edition line on the copyright page. Also $15. Then he stepped up and moved to the Mysterious Press. And Doubleday, then Harry Keating was published by Mysterious Press, and I was running it, and I made sure that we indicated first edition on all my books. So there's the number sequence going down to number 1. And this is still at cover price with $18.95. And another one, an Inspector Gautier novel. And this is an advanced copy with a review letter laid in. And as always with Mysterious Press, reliably, there's the indication of first edition with the number sequence starting at number 1. He also, now, Harry wrote about 70 books. So there are a lot of books that were in other series that did not involve Inspector Gautier. And here's one from the Doubleday Crime Club, from the Collins Crime Club, the British crime club that started in the 20s and published Agatha Christie, among others. And they did it a little differently. They would show first published, which could mean almost anything. But in the case of Collins, they would show a reprint. They don't say first edition. And in the early years, they largely didn't, only fairly recently did they start using the number sequence. So the way you tell a first edition is that there's no information to the contrary, unlike a lot of other publishers. Very fine copy and jacket, as you see, $30. And here, in the store we use these labels. We're not fanatic about doing it for every book, but we try to do that so that anybody can quickly find signed editions. And here's an autograph. Here's his autograph. You can see it's quite different from the forgery or the fake that I showed you before. And this has the number sequence starting with number 1. And this autograph first edition from Macmillan is only $42.50. And then many more. He had a series that featured Harriet Martins, who was a detective, an official detective in England. Here's another autograph, first edition. It's also from Macmillan, and Macmillan does use that number sequence going down to number 1. Perfect copy, $20. And then Murder of the Maharaja sounds like it should be a Goethe novel, but it's not. It's a standalone novel, which he did many times. Keating was also a scholar, really knew the mystery field well, and wrote numerous books about crime fiction. His Agatha Christie book was nominated or won an Edgar, I've forgotten now. He was also a very good Sherlockian. He wrote Sherlock Holmes, The Man in His World, which is a very popular book. He really makes the whole idea of Holmes, the whole world around Holmes, very entertaining and fun to read. This is the American edition. There was also a British edition, and this was published by Scribner, probably because they published a lot of his nonfiction. Yes, and Scribner used the number sequence in later books. In the early books, if you remember, they always had to have an A on the copyright page, starting in 1930. But they largely abandoned that and used the more common number sequence. This was a very interesting book that he pulled together. A bunch of wonderful writers writing essays on various subjects that he edited. And this is a kind of an uncommon book. It was published by the British Broadcasting Company, BBC, and they show, it's hard to read, it's really small. They'll show when it was first published, and I know that excuse me, there was no second printing. Sorry, and it was a fairly small print run, but an interesting book. And then he did a sort of a history of the Golden Age writers called Murder Must Appetize. This is one of the very first books that the Mysterious Press published. And we did it like that. We also did a limited signed edition. Looks the same, but it does have a limitation page that he signed and a slipcase. It was first published by Lemon Tree Press in London, and then the Mysterious Press published it. 1981 was one of the early years. In those days, I basically used their pages, their files, and so I was not yet fanatic about indicating first edition. But the limitation page will certainly show that indeed it is the first edition. 250 copies, numbered and signed, in a slipcase. It's only $25. I got one left. This is your chance. There's Harry Keating, HRF Keating. Thanks for watching.